Hey DM Crafters, welcome to the DM's Craft. I'm DM Scotty, good to have you with me. Today we're going to do a tile that has been frozen over. I have had a lot of people do snow or frozen tiles on my forum, which you can see down in the description, the link for the forum. We'd love to have you get some great ideas off there. But anyways, we've done tiles, we've done lava tiles, we've done tiles filled with water and other types of things on tiles. But I thought today I would show you a frozen area that I'm doing in one of my caverns. So it's a little different than the technique I've seen on my website. So let's go to the table and I'll show you that now. Here I have a pretty standard cave tile. Now what I want to do with this tile is something different. I want to make it look like a cracked ice floor kind of thing. So what I've done is I've done the tile on the regular cardboard. Then I grabbed some thin cardstock and I traced it onto the cardstock, cut it out, and then I'm going to put it on top of this. Now you can see I've got kind of like a puzzle pieces here and I've got them numbered. This way I can easily put this puzzle back together because I know where the pieces go. So I've drawn some thick lines. So what I'm going to do is cut this out, but I'm not going to cut it in the center of the line. I'm going to cut at the edge. So there will be a little bit of space between each piece. And that'll give an interesting effect on the floor. So what I'll do is I will cut this out, then I'll glue each piece to the tile. And then once I do that, I will grab my cave edges, and I always do them a little long so I can cut off the ends. And then I'll glue those on, and that way I won't have to worry about cutting exactly to the edge. I can just put this right on there and it'll fit perfectly. So there we go. What I'll do is I'll cut these out and apply them, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to paint the cave. I'll paint the cave the basic color, and then we'll come back and do some painting on it. So here is our tile all assembled with the pieces. I decided to add a little bit of extra texture to this, so I just kind of drug the glue gun head over the pieces and made some lines. I just thought it'd be a little more interesting texture on there to do that. So I went ahead and did that. So I wanted to show you that before I painted it. And then you can see, kind of like a jigsaw puzzle, I've got all the pieces on here, and then I put the walls on there and completed the tile. So now we will go paint it, and then we'll start detailing. Here's our tile, and all that detail is kind of lost within the texture paint. But once we add some more paint on here, it'll start to pop out again. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab a large brush, water down my white quite a bit, and then just start putting it in here. You can see some of that texture is starting to pop out again, but we'll get some more of that out of there. This is just our start coat. All right, so we'll let that dry and then we'll move on to the next step. Now I'm going to use a pool blue on this tile. So I'm going to wet it down like I have the others. And I'm just going to kind of drag willy-nilly across the tile. But I'm also going to kind of follow the fractures of the tile, so I'm going to All right, so I've got the fractures of the tile, and I'll do a few little more flicks. All right, now we'll let that dry and we'll move on to the next phase. Here what I'm going to do is, now that my blue is dried, I'm going to put some more white highlight on there. And I'm going to kind of get the edges of the ice there where the cracks were. I'm also going to do the edge of the wall. Like the chamber is frozen, which is essentially that's what's happened. So now what I want to do is I'm going to let this dry, and I'm going to add one last step to give this, put this over the top and really make it really look nice. So we'll let this dry and then we'll come back with that. One last thing I'm going to do to make this tile look really icy is I'm going to use some pearlescent paint. It's just kind of a white paint that has pearlescent. It's very translucent. I use it very watery, and but it gives a nice sheen to the surface. So I'm just gonna start putting that down. I don't know if you'll be able to see that, but there we go. There's a nice detail of the ice though. So you can kind of see that shimmering in the light as I rotate it there. So part of it is just wet though, so but it will retain that kind of wetness. So I'm going to do one last thing to this and then we'll be all finished. Now the last stage of our project, I'm going to use my water-based varnish and slop it on there. Give it a nice sheen. And that'll really help bring the ice-like tendencies out on this. Really make it look like some ice. Now, there's one last thing we can do to put this over the top. And this will be a really neat effect. What I'm going to do is I'm going to sprinkle some glitter on this. But I'm not going to use the standard kind of glitter you think of, like the big silver flakes of glitter. That'll just look like big flakes of glitter. So what I'm going to use is this stuff. It's a little more refined. You can get it at the craft store. It's called Fairy Sparkle. Okay, and this is a much finer kind of glitter. So I'll just start sprinkling it on there. And you may be able to see it in the camera. May not. You don't need too much. All right, so there, that the water-based varnish will help keep it on the tile. And once that dries up, you'll be able to see how nice that sparkle is. I'll give you a look at it. So we'll let that dry, and then I'll show you what it looks like. Here you can see our finished frozen tile, and we have our character standing on it. Looks really good. These characters are flocked, and I've had people say, oh, you know, if you flock a character, you know, it doesn't fit with the terrain, it'll look weird. Well, you know, I mean, it's, to me, it still looks better than if it's not flocked, but, you know, you're not going to be able to flock a character for every situation. I kind of do like a ground with some rocks on it, and that seems to be a pretty good, fit pretty well everywhere, except for maybe something like this where it's snow. But, you know, it's not that distracting. It's not really any more, to me, it's not any more distracting than it would be if they had black bases. But anyways, we'll move beyond that. So I did do some shadow on the wall here, like I did on a normal tile. And I'm going to take the figures off, and I want to see if you can see the glitter that's on there. So I've got that nice coat of gloss, water-based gloss on there, and then I'll move it so you can see that glitter that's embedded in that. So it really gives it a nice icy texture look. So there we go. There's a frozen area you can do on your tiles. And I'll see you next time on the DM's Craft. Hey guys, if you're really digging these videos and would like some more information or to talk to other crafters, look at the link below in the description, and you can join my forum on the DM's Craft. We'd love to have you, and I'll see you there.